Yo, what's up, guys? So today's topic will be about the power of God. Kind of talk about my experiences with my faith with God, and this is totally subjective, kind of my opinions. Just kind of want to talk about it. Power of God. This more so stems from the power of thought. Currently, I don't believe in a God. Previously, I thought I was atheist, but I think I did believe in a God, and that was probably from when I was a young kid till about 20. So I never was really religious. Like, I didn't go to church that much. I had a communion and I would sometimes go to church with my grandma. When I was younger, I always found myself believing that there was a higher being. Believing in that higher being, I also believed that they would always ensure that there was justice in the world and that good would always prevail over the evil in the world. It also made me believe that I would always be granted the things I wanted if I worked hard for those things and I showed commitment and I showed good spirit. For example, when I was in school, in high school, I always wanted good grades, and I always thought that God was watching over me and that if I put in the effort and I tried my best, He would always ensure I would succeed. I never really noticed that I kind of had this belief in a higher being and always kind of had a belief someone was watching over me. I've kind of noticed it once I started to not believe in God. I started to notice that I did believe in one, which is kind of ironic. Believing in God gives you hope. It gives you hope that there will always be justice for the bad that happens in your life. There will always be good that outweighs the bad. And it always gives you hope that at some point you will get what you deserve. And I think the reason I almost instinctively thought there was always a higher being in my life when I was younger is because I always wanted to feel a purpose. And I think all people do. They want to feel a purpose. Having that higher being gives you that purpose. It's kind of a figure that gives you that purpose, that there is more to this life than just being alive, and then after death you will go somewhere else. A life that is limited, meaning a life where you die and cease to exist, makes people feel hopeless, and people wonder what is the point in all this. But if we believe in a higher being, like a God, that there's more to this life than simply living. We believe that life is eternity, and that we must do good so that we can continue having a good life. When I started to not believe in God, which was around 19 or 20 years old, it was my freshman and sophomore year in college, and I just started taking philosophy courses, and that's when I really started to question life. And the reason I did is because philosophy courses do exactly that. They question life. And despite most of the philosophers believing in God and actually always talking about God, it more so just opened a gateway to me, a gateway that led me to think about God and my beliefs on it. And towards that time, I started to realize that almost instinctively, not on purpose, I would always think a God was watching over me and ensuring that I would always be given justice, always be given what I deserve. But then slowly I believed that wasn't true, because I started to believe more that there is no God watching over us and that I am responsible for what happens to myself. And I'm not sure exactly what made me think that way. I think it was mainly the fact that God wasn't real, or at least didn't have a physical substance, and I felt that God was more an illusion than a real thing. So now that I started believing that God was just an illusion and simply a figure that gave me hope, it was something that was convenient for me, I realized that I don't really necessarily want to believe in it, because I feel like that was easier, and in a way it wasn't necessarily easy. Well, it was kind of easier, but it also wasn't real. And me being me, I'm someone who I like to live in reality, not in an illusion. I believed that the real thing was that God wasn't real. So I stopped believing in God, but in doing so, I realized that I almost lost hope, in the form that I wouldn't necessarily get what I deserved in life. And what I mean by that is, no matter how hard I would try to get some things, I wouldn't be guaranteed to get those things. Whereas if I still believed in God, I would truly believe I would be guaranteed to get those things eventually. But not believing in God got rid of that hope, and it made me realize that there is no one watching over me to ensure I get what I deserve. So where am I going with this? I'm trying to say that despite me being, I guess, atheist, I still believe that people should believe in a God and have faith in a God, because it is a great motivator to doing great things, and it pushes you to keep going until you get what you want or deserve in life. Not having that God or that faith makes us feel unmotivated and hopeless, that in the fact that we aren't guaranteed the things that we are pursuing. So I believe people should believe in a higher being, because I know from experience it gives you hope. But yeah, besides that, I know I said that I feel hopeless now because I don't have a God. That was more so when I first started believing in that. I don't want you guys to think I'm, depressed or anything. I have my ups and downs like everyone else, but I'm a relatively happy person now, and, I've come to the realization that despite maybe life seeming kind of hopeless, I'm still going to make the best out of it and give it my all, no matter what. I'm going to fight for what I believe in and what I believe is good. So besides that, hope you guys enjoyed and have a good one.